Good morning, dear students. I hope all of you listened to the previous session on linguistics and phonetics. That was a general introduction on linguistics and phonetics. I just gave you an idea about what linguistics is so that you could understand where phonetics stands among the subdisciplines of linguistics. Linguistics is a very broad term that refers to any scientific study of language. And as I told you in the last class, it consists of several subdisciplines, including syntax, semantics, morphology, etc. So, phonology and phonetics are just two subdisciplines of linguistics which deal with speech sounds specifically. And I also explained to you the difference between phonology and phonetics. While phonology deals with the system of sounds and the rules regarding the distribution of sounds in a language, phonetics deals with the physical aspect of the real production and transmission of speech sounds. I hope that differentiation is clear. I didn't get any doubts from you since the last class, so I hope everyone has understood what I explained. Let me remind you once again that phonetics is a subject with a scientific base, so it is always good that you listen to each session and then and there clear your doubts with regard to the topics covered in the session, because the session coming after that would naturally be a continuation of the previous one. So you need to be clear with the concepts before you can proceed further. So always ask doubts immediately after each session. With that, let's move on to today's session. Having talked to you about the difference between phonology and phonetics and also the subcategories of phonetics, namely articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics and auditory phonetics, let's start our session today with a discussion based on articulatory phonetics. I have already told you that you are most concerned with articulatory phonetics. You are not concerned with acoustic or auditory phonetics. When you talk of phonetics as an English student, you are mainly concerned with articulatory phonetics, and apart from that you have certain aspects of phonology also to learn. So today let's talk about articulation. As I told you, articulation, articulation, articulation is a technical term that refers to the actual production of speech sounds by human beings. So when we talk of articulation, it starts with the lungs, the source of air for our speech. The air moves through the windpipe into the oral cavity, as we call it, the part in which we have the teeth, the tongue, the roof of the mouth, etc. So the air passes through the oral cavity, and there it is modulated in different ways in order to form specific speech sounds. Apart from the oral cavity, you have another cavity through which air might come out at certain times. It is called the nasal cavity. So in the course of speech, to be very specific, let's talk about English. While speaking English, air comes from the lungs through the windpipe into the oral cavity, and sometimes the oral cavity is closed and the wind comes out totally through the nasal cavity. In certain cases, the wind might come out simultaneously through the oral cavity as well as the nasal cavity. So we are concerned with all these aspects when we are discussing articulatory phonetics. So we'll move on in detail into that.